Hey, Queen, do you want to know the single biggest thing that will keep you in toxic relationships, that will keep you single? This is kind of a secret, kind of. And it's probably not what you want to hear. Nobody likes to hear this. In fact, I hear quite a lot of nonsense about this. So if you want to know what's the biggest thing, the number one thing that keeps you single, that keeps you in toxic relationships, then keep on watching. So this is kind of a part two. Um, I have another video that talks about this, talks about, oh yeah, it's called The Number One Secret to Men and Relationships and All. This is a part two because I need to drill this until the cows come home. And that is accountability. Accountability. Accountability for your own actions and for your decisions and the things that you do. And I want to get this topic out of the way once and for all. I keep hearing this thing with blaming men and blame. And oh no, if we're not going to blame men, we can't blame women because that is misogyny. What the fuck is misogyny? Misogyny is when someone hates a woman. So putting accountability on your actions is hating a woman? Like, what the fuck, stupid? What the fucking stupid logic or rationale is that? Not to mention the childish and immature, like kindergarten, like, mommy, he did it. Mommy, what about him? Honey, no, you need to clean your shoes. No, mommy, what about him? He has dirty shoes too. Like, how old are you to be talking about blame? Blaming men or blaming yourself or blaming other women. Like, what the fuck is that? No, here in in this world, in my world, in my channel, in my practice, we are grown-up women. And you know what grown-up women do? They take responsibility and accountability for their actions and for their decisions. We don't go around blaming the patriarchy. We don't go around blaming anyone, not you, not other women, no one. You take responsibility and radical accountability for your own decisions, your own actions. Let me give you an example. So this morning, my mom called me and she was telling me about a friend of hers from church that was complaining about her non-provider husband, how he's constantly asking her to work and so on and so forth. My question to her was, why did she choose a non-provider man? Why did she make that decision? Why did she have a child with a non-provider man? So imagine if I said, oh, that guy. Yeah, men today are shit. They don't, you know, they don't know how to make money. They expect you to pay half, like men are shit today. They're so feminine. No, no, no. Why did you marry him? Why are you dating him? Why do you go out with men that are broke or that are feminine? I've mentioned the example of people bitching about online dating, right? Kind of like, oh, online dating is shit. It's just for hookups. No, no, no. Just please tell me why you accepted to go to this man's home or any man's home. You know what that means? An invitation to go to his home is an invitation to have sex. If you don't understand that about, if you don't understand how men operate, who is it to, I'm not going to say blame, but whose responsibility is that? You need to understand the world you live in. You need to understand the human nature of women, of men. Women, they just want to cuddle, they just want to talk. Men, they don't talk, they don't cuddle, they do something else. That's just how they are. That's their nature. Understand it. Yeah. So placing responsibility on you, which is what you can change, what you can control, like your own decisions and your own actions. You're telling me this is misogyny? I think this little child unsubscribed when she said that in the comments, that putting responsibility on women is misogyny. Men, they respond to you. That means they react to you. Yeah. So, for example, if you go on a date, guy wants you to pay 50-50, you just simply never see him again. Now, men wouldn't really dare to ask that from a woman that is like, wow. So, what message are you sending with your aura, with your vibe, with your outfit, with your behavior, everything? Because imagine if you go on a date, and I've seen this, I kid you not. If you go on a date and he asks you, so how are the men treating you? And you're like, oh, it's been kind of shit, My ex was like super abusive, but you know what? Now I'm done. I'm done with that shit. Now I have boundaries. The guy's like, oh, mm-hmm. So yeah, you're gonna pay 50-50 here. But if you come in like a freaking queen, you think he's gonna ask you to pay 50-50? I'm gonna tell you something. It's gonna sound a little cocky and arrogant, but never once in my life have I had not even the brokest of men ask me to pay 50-50 in a date. Because you need to have that vibe of like, no, you don't fuck with me and excuse me without even ever saying that. Right? So, I mean, I want you to look at your vibe, look at what you are reflecting into the world, right? So again, it's your accountability for your own vibe, your own aura, your own decisions, all of that stuff. This is not called blame. This is called radical accountability and yeah, taking responsibility for your life and decisions. And again, if that's misogyny, you belong to the channel with the bald women that are doing I don't know, all those weird things. Right? So, yeah. Another way that you are holding yourself back from success in relationships and something that keeps you in toxic relationships is your past, the wounds and the unhealed you. So, for example, imagine that you grew up in a household where you were, like, not you, but maybe your dad treated your mom a certain way. So you grow up believing that all men treat women like shit, or that all men cheat, or so on. So you having that baggage or trauma from your past, while it's not your fault that you experience that, it's not your responsibility that you experience that, or that you witness something bad, or saw abuse, or saw toxic marriages. Well, it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to heal, to move on, and to rewire your beliefs. Because imagine if you are to believe that all men cheat, you're going to go out on dates with a bitter vibe, with a guarded vibe, thinking that all men cheat, and so on and so forth. Or that all men want to keep you trapped and want to steal your independence, or shit like that, just because you saw it growing up. So that kind of stuff is holding you back from ever finding a healthy relationship, from ever finding love. And guess who is being affected by that? Not me, not the neighbor, but you. So you not taking the responsibility to heal your own self, to look inwards, to look in the mirror and heal your trauma. Like, I'll just talk about a quick example of mine, right? And again, I owe you guys a video where I talk about how I healed my own feminine energy. I promise I will do it. But here's a quick example, right? In Mexico, I've mentioned that all women are really, really feminine in their light feminine energy, and they're like quintessential feminine women. But a huge percentage of them are like children, are like childs. They don't know how to do anything for themselves. They think that all their desires are to be met by their husbands, and they live very limited. They don't know how to manifest. They don't know how to get a desire manifested, or even achieve anything for that matter. So they don't have any masculine energy. So imagine if I um you know grew up believing that you have to be like that as a woman. I'd be still, like, I don't know, like in some completely different life, in Mexico, like being another child, repeating those patterns, right? And I guess that's not a very relatable example, but if I talk about, so I don't know, it's very common that because women become like children and stuff in Mexico, like 90% of them get cheated on, right? Imagine that I believe that all men are like that. I'd never be married. So it was up to me to heal that, which really what it means is decide that their choices don't have to be my choices, that I get to decide how I live my life. So whatever it is you saw growing up, whatever trauma you have from childhood, unresolved things, I invite you to know that their story is not your story, and that you get to decide what your life gets to be. Like, no, I don't get to be like those women that sit around wishing for shit to happen that only can happen from their husbands. Oh, no. No. Guess what? I choose to believe that the universe, the higher power, gives me everything that I want, whether it be through my husband, or whether it be through my business, whether it be through luck, whatever. I choose to believe different things. So you believing patterns that are not serving you, they're only keeping you stuck, they're keeping you bitter, and they're keeping you from living your best life and owning your desire of finding love or being in healthy situations. So anyway, I mean, this is really, really important, and is really core of my practice: radical accountability and radical self-responsibility for your life, for your decisions. And if this is misogyny to you, if this doesn't vibe with you, if you love the victim mindset, you're probably going to hate me. So there's channels for victims, there's channels for bitter people, for men hating channels, women hating channels, there's all of that. But here we don't hate, we don't blame, we take responsibility for us, for what you can change. Because they really tried saying out there, change starts with you. I know, mind blowing. Like, who would have thought? Yeah. So anyway, that's it for now, queens. I hope you find this little rant useful. Bye now.